I've been thinking a lot about Ryan Holiday's book, Ego is the Enemy. It's really fascinating how he delves into the pitfalls of ego in our lives.
Absolutely. What struck you the most about it?
Well, he starts by discussing how ego is this unhealthy belief in our own importance. It's like we're so consumed with ourselves that we lose touch with reality.
Yeah, and he isn't talking about ego in the Freudian sense, is he?
Exactly. He clarifies that he's focusing on ego as arrogance and self-centered ambition, not the psychological ego. It's that voice that tells us we're better than we really are.
That's so true. It's like ego blocks us from hearing feedback or learning from others.
Precisely. And he gives examples of historical figures who achieved great things by suppressing their ego,
Yeah.
like William Tecumseh Sherman.
Oh, right. Sherman was incredible in how he balanced ambition with humility.
Yes, he was. He deferred promotions and focused on being effective rather than seeking glory.
Exactly.
It's a stark contrast to how we often chase recognition today.
Do you think our culture today makes it harder to keep ego in check?
Definitely. With social media and constant validation,
Yeah.
it's so easy to get wrapped up in ourselves.
It's like everyone's promoting their personal brand instead of focusing on the work itself.
Right. And Holiday warns that ego is the enemy at every stage. Aspiring, success, and even failure. It can derail us at any point.
That's a powerful message. So how do we combat ego according to him?
He emphasizes humility, discipline, and self-awareness. It's about being a lifelong student and recognizing that we always have more to learn.
I love that. It's like the quote he mentions, "It is impossible to learn that which one thinks one already knows."
Yes. And he talks about the importance of setting aside selfish desires to pursue a higher purpose.
Exactly.
It's about being humble in our aspirations.
That reminds me of the concept of being a student first and foremost.
Absolutely. He shares examples like Kirk Hammett from Metallica, who, even after joining the band, sought out a guitar teacher. He
Right.
wanted to keep improving.
It's a great reminder that no matter how successful we become, there's always room to grow.
Exactly. But, it's challenging when society constantly tells us to believe in ourselves and think big.
True, but there's a fine line between confidence and ego, isn't there?
Yes, and Holiday makes that distinction clear. Confidence is earned, while ego is self-anointed.
Yep.
Ego is stolen, confidence is earned.
That's a powerful way to put it. So in battling ego, we're aiming for true confidence grounded in reality.
Exactly. And he also warns about the dangers of early pride, how success can make us complacent.
Like the story he shares about Benjamin Franklin meeting Cotton Mather and hitting his head because he didn't stoop.
Yes, it's a metaphor for keeping our heads down and staying humble.
Right.
Pride can blind us to reality.
So how do we maintain that humility in the face of success?
By focusing on the work itself and not the accolades. By continuously learning and reminding ourselves of our purpose.
That makes sense. But what about when we face failure? How does ego play into that?
Ego can make failure devastating because it tells us we're supposed to be perfect. But if we're humble, we can see failure as a learning opportunity.
It's about resilience then, not letting our ego crumble when things don't go our way.
Exactly. And he also discusses managing ourselves and our priorities.
Right.
Not letting ego drive us to take on too much or lose sight of what's important.
That's a challenge in today's hustle culture. Everyone wants to do everything.
True, but as Holiday points out, we need to know what's essential to us and focus on that. Otherwise, ego leads us astray.
So it's about clarity of purpose, knowing our why.
Yes, and not being swayed by entitlement or the need for control. Those
Exactly.
are ego traps.
It's interesting how he ties ego to so many aspects of our lives. Ambition, success, failure.
Definitely. And he doesn't just point out the problem, he offers solutions.
Right.
Like practicing restraint and getting out of our own heads.
That one's tough. Our inner narratives can really trip us up.
They can. But by staying present and focusing on the work, we can quiet that ego-driven voice.
It's a lifelong practice, isn't it?
Absolutely. Ego isn't something you defeat once and you're done. It's
Yeah.
a constant battle.
Well, Holiday's book definitely gives us a lot to think about.
It does. It's a reminder to approach life with humility and a learner's mindset.
Exactly.
Ego is the enemy, but we have the tools to overcome it.